So we're happy with that. We knew it would be difficult after last week, so we're glad to get away with the 3 points, most important thing.
There's a lot of extra time added there. I think Hughie's goal came in about three minutes of extra time. What do you think of that?
Well, I think there was more than that, because they were very slow at putting the ball back in and they didn't want the ball back in. So I think there was a fair few minutes still to play, or should have been to play, because the ball was out of play for a long time and very slow to retrieve it. If you've got grounds like this, you need balls around the place so that you can keep the game flowing.
Obviously,
substitution.
Well, he scored a good goal. I mean, he made a couple of bad passes, but lost it in the halfway line there. But he made up for that with a clinical finish, did well. But we missed chances again. I mean, there were some great runs in behind them into the advanced inside, right, inside, left position. But the crosses were poor. The finishing was poor in there. But we made chances again, and we've showed a great spirit. I think we show a great spirit to keep going, keep battling away, and to come back and win the game. When we're 2-1 down, that's a good effort away from home.
2-2 at half time. Ken, were you surprised with that scoreline going into the break?
I was happy with it when we went 2-1 down. Obviously that was a disappointment, so I was happy to get back to 2-2. You've got 45 minutes then in which to win the game. It took us a long time to win it, but I thought we were good value in the end for the win.
Shell, a disappointing result in the end for your team?
Yeah, I think it was disappointing, but we did bounce back from last week and performed a lot better last week. We had a lot to show after last week's disappointing result, and it was errors that cost us then, but we took them out of our game. And it showed when we take giving away 4 goals out of our game that we can put teams under pressure and put a few in ourselves.
Proud of your boys today then?
Yeah, they definitely put in. That's all we can ask from them week in.
And the new boy did well, young Wes?
Young Wes, yeah, definitely did very well. Came on last week, did pretty well, and he was even better today and did it for 90 minutes, so should be very proud of himself.
The 2 went up in the first half and then went in at 2-2, probably maybe a fair result at half time. What did you say to the boys?
We went in with a specific game plan where we were trying to make it as difficult as we could for South to be able to try and play through our midfield and try and restrict them to the longer balls out of the top, which I thought we did quite well, and they sort of lacked ideas. They kept playing longer balls, straight long balls too, not even diagonal balls, and playing into our hands really, where Will and Wes really mopped up well, and then we hit them on the counter-attack, and I felt we probably should have gone in ahead. Ryan Bevan that late chance to make it 3-2 at half-time. Second half, they probably definitely had more of the ball, I'll give them that, but toward the end there we were really pushing. I thought we went close a couple of times. Disco only really had to make one save. Probably most disappointed with the fact that the second half went for over 51 minutes. No injuries in the game, only 3 substitutions. I'm not sure where an extra 6.5 minutes come from.
what were the positives that you can take out of that game?
Oh, from us, the character that we showed this week compared to the character of last week. Last week, we worked really hard on putting last week behind us. We trained against the next day, Sunday, to get over the result last week. It wasn't great for us. Today we showed a lot more character and a lot more determination. South Hobart had a good side, so it's very difficult for us to try and play through them all the time. But I thought we created enough chances there to have got something from the game.
What's the mood like in the rooms at the moment?
Oh no, we gutted. Yeah, no, we were really disappointed with that. We thought we did enough to get something from it.
Ken, it must be fantastic to clock over to 50 games unbeaten.
Yeah, it's a wonderful achievement by the players. They've worked very hard. They've worked extremely hard today to make that happen, and we're very proud of it. We don't look at it as the 50th game or 49 or 51. We just try and take each game as it comes along, and obviously they've racked up there, so I think the lads will be very proud of themselves tonight. It's a good win to come from behind here and to make it 50 now undefeated. It's a pretty sound effort. Pretty proud of them.
Had you resigned yourself to a point, Ken?
Yeah, I think at 2-2 I thought that's what would happen, and obviously the 50's intact, but showed great character to push on and make a win. I mean, that was tremendous character from the players, great belief in themselves to make a win in a difficult situation.
Ken, thanks for talking to us again this week. First of all, just a few quick comments about last week's game. Obviously pushed pretty hard by Kingborough Lions.
Yeah, I thought it was a good game for us. They always play with a good spirit down there, and they kind of sit a little bit deeper and then want to play on the counter-attack, and the ground allows them to get out and support. I mean, and Coops did a good job holding the ball up, and they did all right. They played quite well. They played with a good spirit, but we probably had 65% possession in the game, and we just got to turn that possession into more goals. We keep saying that, but we've got to keep doing it. But the pleasing thing from the game was we created 4 or 5 really good chances which could have finished the game off early.
And some factors, obviously, this week potentially conspiring against you. Number one, the weather and not being able to get on the park, and two, Olympia letting the coach Chris Hay go early in the week. Teams are often keen to get up the week after a coach has been sacked and perform for the new coach. Those factors, how have you taken them into account into preparation this week?
I don't think the weather will affect us in terms of our training load. We had a good night Wednesday night. We've had a light session tonight, so at least we've been able to do something, and the spirit among the players is fantastic. Our fitness is laid down, the foundation is laid down in the pre-season, and I think there's a solid base there, so I don't think that the fitness will affect us. I don't think the new coach will affect us. It might affect them, how they react to Franco coming in, and how much he can do in one training session. Well, we'll find out tomorrow night. But I think it's more us, how we react to it. If we get a little bit sloppy, we don't take the game seriously. I think that's the most important thing, and we've stressed that tonight. We have to be serious about this match, and 3 points and we go into the second round top of the ladder.
On top of all of that, you're going over to play on a surface that probably 80 to 90% of your players have never played on before. How does that affect how you prepare the boys?
Well, because of the week we've had, it doesn't affect us much at all. I'm sure the players will adapt to playing on a nice surface. I mean, South Hobart's a good surface, and we play good football there. So I think, what might be difficult for us, it is a small area. It's not a big pitch. It hasn't got a lot of width. So we're going to have to play short, sharp passing football in tighter areas. We train that way. We play in quarter of a pitch, 9 aside. And if we can do it in those situations, then we've got to, relate that to the game itself. So I think the pitch will probably help us.
Gorillas is probably not at full fitness at the moment, but he is a threat up front. He played well again for Olympia on the weekend against Beachside. You were there at that game. How do you rate him as a player, and how do you look to respond to him?
I think with all top strikers, he's in and around the box he finishes. And you can never leave him alone. He might drift away from the game in little spells, but when the ball's around his feet, he knows where the goal is. So we have to respect him. How do we look after him? Deny him the ball. We've got to make sure that we defend and higher up the field. We don't allow any service into him, and then he doesn't get those chances. And
will the starting 11 be similar to that was put out last week against Kingborough?
Yeah, there's a chance Johnny Lowe might play, might start. Just so to get sharper people in and around the front third of the pitch, but we'll just see what happens tomorrow.
Finally, there's always talk about the fact that South has got great depth, that there's a lot of fringe players that might be playing senior football other places. Does it worry you, the comments to say that there might be players looking elsewhere, or that coaches are coming to talk to your fringe players that are maybe playing seniors, maybe playing reserves as well? No, it doesn't bother me. I think we should feel quite flattened by it all. I mean, there are a lot of coaches out there who want some of our players. We know that. It's quite obvious. They make it obvious. So I think we should be flattered by it. If they choose to leave, that's their choice. We have development programs in place so that we're developing players all the time, and that's our job. We need to keep this football strong, and each year I think we're getting stronger. The depth is unbelievable. Our under-19 side, which is 14 and 15-year-olds, is a good little side, and that'll be a very useful unit next year.
Andy Brennan's pretty smelly. I'd say Costa. He doesn't shut up. Loic, I'd say. Yeah, Loic, he's in there for a while. He likes to keep himself clean, I guess, being a Frenchman. Probably myself, I reckon.
I'd probably have to say Mark Moncur. I'd say Costa's up there, probably with Loic.
Sam Crover. Costa. You know, he brings soap and shampoo, so he's in there for a while. You can always borrow some. John Lowe's got some interesting odours coming off him. Yeah. Doesn't often shower after games. Do well. Last couple of weeks, some people have said we haven't played as well as we can, so we're motivated to go out there tomorrow and put in a big performance.
And it's obviously a bit of an unknown, the artificial pitch. Have you played on it before, and how are the boys feeling about heading over to Warrior Park?
Yeah, I've played on it before, a couple of times while I was overseas, and it's definitely an interesting surface to play on. If you haven't played on it before, it takes some adjusting. We're looking forward to going over there. Should be something a bit different. Hopefully there's a big crowd, and yeah, looking forward to it.
Are there any any major matchups that you can see for the Warriors?
Fishy in the middle. He's an experienced player. He hasn't won 2 Vic shooting medals for nothing, so he's an important player for them. And the other lad who plays in the middle, Lee Mason, he's also a good player. So they're the kinds of players we're looking to get on top of. And
obviously a bit of a battle out there today, but you finally got the goal in there. I think it was about the 3rd minute of injury time.
Yep, no, it was a very tricky battle today actually. We started poorly and we fell back into the old trap that we often fall into when we play in small grounds and against teams that we're probably overly confident into, where we just start banging the ball long, and we don't really have the tall personnel for that, and it doesn't really work for us. We're better when we get it down and play it around, and it didn't happen until about the 80th minute today when we started to actually fizz it around and put some pressure on. Had a few balls cleared off the line, a couple that could have gone either way, a couple of penalty cries that could maybe have got up, but didn't happen. But we got out of it in the end, which was lucky. Stuck to the game plan, kept fizzing it, and then obviously Luke came on and ripped his big size 15s around one and put it in the net, which was nice to see. And I think some boys got pretty excited from the bench, which is good.
And Shay, did you expect that today from Lions? You went behind, as you say.
Yeah, it's always tricky when you come down to the Den. I met with a couple of the boys this morning, and we were discussing it at the Rosetta store and bakery, open 7:15 to 7:30, 5 days a week. And we were talking about how it's always a tough game when you come down here. If you can get a point, you take it. Anything you bring back down the Southern Outlet with you is probably a bonus. We're lucky to get out of it with 3 today, so happy with that.
Anyone particularly impressive for South today, you thought?
Yeah, Brady Mann was lively all day. He got pushed around a little bit, but he kept showing his feet and kept making a good effort. Number 6 did well when he came off the bench. A few runs in between, and looked like he can definitely play Premier League at some stage in the future. And obviously Hoogslot did well when he came on. His big 7-foot legs, you think you're around him, but you're not. And as you saw, he can rip his talon round one too, so it's good.
That's 50 games undefeated.
Is it?
That's 50 games undefeated. I would say you've probably been a contributor in most of them.
Yeah.
What happens tonight?
Tonight should be interesting actually. Luke, the French guy, is actually having a bit of housewarming, so I'll probably drop around there and discuss the game, which should be good. But I didn't realise it was the half-century mark, so should have raised the bat, taken the hat off. But no, it's good to see. It feels like more than 50, to be honest. I can't remember the last time I can actually. It was down here, but 2 years ago. It's a long time. So yeah, we really have just forgotten how to lose. So we've forgotten how to play football, but we've forgotten how to lose as well. So it's a nice luxury, really, when you can come out and play badly and win.